streets of Accra. Troops that have been deployed from all over the security agencies, from military, police, fire service, and all the agencies, immigration, showing force. When we ask the purpose, so they are showing force. What force ostensibly do they want to show on the street of Accra? Is Accra part of the flashpoint? The Binyiri conflict that displaced 48,000 and pushed 23,000 into refugee status, 10,000 seeking refugee in Burkina Faso and 13,000 seeking refugee status in Ivory Coast. That is the flashpoint. If you want to show force and if you want to massacre your armored vehicles and your personnel and your armory, your weapons, Accra is not the street where you marshal this show of force. It was misplaced.
Live on your channel Zimbo TV GH in our studio here at Abala Junction, and you are live on our news broadcast. And let's start with it in Parliament and from the minority side, where they have engaged the press and questioned government decision to deploy personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces Engineering Regiment to Jamaica for reconstruction efforts.
We woke up to the news of Ghana sending troops to Benin, and these troops that are committed to some undertakings in Benin ought to have come to the attention of Parliament for prior approval. Today, we also have woken up to the news of government sending troops, military troops, to Jamaica to assist on some humanitarian grounds and some reconstruction undertakings. We don't have any problem with the principles of assistance to these countries we have mentioned. However, the procedures that should have been followed and the due process of consulting this august house, this Parliament House, in such decisions for us to be able to interrogate, to ensure transparency in the modalities, the framework, even the various costs that the state will incur, how long all these decisions taken will persist. Recently, when they sought to buy helicopters, they had to consult Parliament. So how come when you want to deploy troops to Benin, you do not consult Parliament? When you want to deploy troops to Jamaica, you do not consult Parliament. What are they hiding within this process? Sending troops to Benin, we need to understand which protocols under which this deployment is going to be undertaken, how many troops are going to be sent, how long this operation is going to be undertaken, and what is the cost to the state. How much is it going to cost the state for these troops deployed to Benin that will be incurred as a result of this decision? We have to ask all these questions. We are demanding answers from the Minister for Defense, from all the relevant agencies who took this decision. They are.
Leader of the minority in Parliament, Alfenio Makin, is demanding full disclosure on troop deployment to Jamaica and Benin and the 10 million Ghana cedis relief donation, seeking details on the scope, mandate, duration, rules of engagement, and financial breakdown.
The minority hereby calls on the government to do the following. 1. Immediately lay before this House a full statement detailing the scope, mandate, duration, and the rules of engagement governing our troops in Jamaica. 2. We demand government to lay before this House the rules of engagement governing the troops that are being deployed in the Republic of Benin. Mr. Speaker, we also demand that government to provide complete financial breakdown of all costs, present and future, associated with this deployment, and seek the necessary parliamentary approval for any expenditure as required by Article 179 of the Constitution. Then again, Mr. Speaker, government must provide this House with the details of all the relief items that have been shipped to Jamaica, the sources of these relief items. Were they donated by individuals? Are they coming from government coffers? And what is the total cost? And were they...
Still in Parliament, the minority chief whip urges the foreign affairs ministers to brief Parliament on the deployment of Ghanaian troops to Benin and the financial implications following the attempted military takeover.
We are aware Ablakwa is coming. He shouldn't come and only speak to Jamaica. He should prepare for Benin too.
so that we know the number of troops that have been sent and the financial implication to the country, the taxpayer, and all that. You say you are resetting Ghana. Do we have to tell you this? No. Do we have to tell you this? You don't have access to tell you, the majority leader. You look very calm this morning. We don't have to tell you this. Tell your ministers to come to the chamber. Foreign minister must find his way here. Wherever he is, must come with the next available flight to come to parliament. The defense minister must come here. You said you are resetting Ghana, and we should be telling you this before you do it.
Following that, the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has briefed Parliament on the Ghana's humanitarian support to these two countries.
These historic actions, Mr. Speaker, spanning more than 6 decades, illustrate that Ghana's humanitarian diplomacy is institutional, principled, and deeply rooted in national identity. They demonstrate a consistent belief that solidarity is not merely rhetorical, but must be expressed through tangible support, even in circumstances where resources are constrained. Right, Honourable Speaker, it is within this proud and unbroken tradition that Ghana's humanitarian assistance and technical support, extended since 7 January 2025, must be understood. Our actions today are not departures from precedent. They are continuations of a legacy of compassion, leadership, and responsibility that has defined Ghana's engagement in the Committee of Nations. By aligning humanitarian assistance with diplomatic engagement, Ghana demonstrates its foreign policy is both principled and pragmatic. It's rooted in values of empathy, solidarity, brotherhood, and compassion.
The Parliament of Ghana member for Ifia, Isaac Boamanyako, questions the deployment of troops to Jamaica and Benin, asking why similar support was not deployed to manage Ghana's own internal disaster, asking what has been government's own contribution to disaster that have happened in Ghana.
So there's a lot for government to come out and explain to us. But why? Disasters that have happened in Ghana, what has been government's own response to disasters that happen in Ghana? We've been in this country. Buildings are collapsed. Accidents happen on the roads. And when you need our own military, look at all the bad roads that we talk about that are killing people day in and out. And now, why haven't we deployed our regiments to assist in making sure that we improve on some of these things even before formal contracts and the rest are awarded? So we have them there, we don't use them for what is fit and purpose, and then we turn around and when it comes to these things we want to play, I don't know whether they want to show some, or is the AU chairmanship that he wants in 2027.
That's what that one is confirmed.
It's confirmed that he'll be AU chairman.
He'll be AU chairman.
Them give up the door. He has to go to the.
You should be proud of me. You should be happy.
Oh, why not? My president is AU chairman, but AU chairman, what is he bringing to this country apart from the name that he was AU chairman? Because in this country we are not feeling it. So. The military, we have a very, 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 very strong, disciplined armed forces. But again, our actions as a country in utilizing them, and I say, if you pay all of these military people on a yearly basis, but you don't get them do the things that they are known to do, then what is their use? Because now, unless there are major attacks against us and the rest, we hardly get wars that you are saying. Every day we are also recruiting. Well, recently,
the minority in Parliament is demanding the resignation or dismissal of the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Emmanuel Amakofibua, over the withdrawal of the lithium mining agreement. NP Vincent Eko Asafua says a move following the public outreach over the 5% loyalty deal with Barari DV Ghana Limited has weakened Ghana's negotiation positions and embarrassed Parliament.
It is neither
reasonable nor acceptable to assure Parliament that consultations have been concluded, only to later rely on insufficient consultation as justification for a reversal. It is this inconsistency between what Parliament was told and what has now been conceded that lies at the core of our concern. Lithium is a strategic mineral with far-reaching implications for Ghana's industrialization agenda, energy transition, youth employment prospects, environmental protection, and intergenerational equity. The management of such a resource demands clarity, consistency, and foresight. The minister's erratic handling of this matter has undermined public confidence, weakened Ghana's negotiating position, and exposed Parliament to avoidable embarrassment. In any functioning democracy, a sector minister who presides over such contradictions and uncertainty on a matter of national importance must take responsibility for his action.
Now, finally, in Parliament, so the minority is criticizing the joint Ghana Armed Forces and Police Services show of force in Accra as a misplaced priority and waste of resources. Ranking member Reverend John Intim Fujo argues such displays should target security flag points like Boku, Biniri, and illegal mining sites to reassure residents and tackle crime effectively.
We also saw on the streets of Accra troops that have been deployed from all over the security agencies, from military, police, fire service, and all the agencies, immigration, showing force. When we ask the purpose, so they are showing force. What force ostensibly do they want to show on the street of Accra? Is Accra part of the flashpoint? The Binyiri conflict that displaced 48,000 and pushed 23,000 into refugee status, 10,000 seeking refugee in Burkina Faso and 13,000 seeking refugee status in Ivory Coast. That is the flashpoint. If you want to show force and if you want to massacre your armored vehicles and your personnel and your armory, your weapons, Accra is not the street where you marshal this show of force. It was misplaced, it was inappropriate, and they carried this out without consulting Parliament, without consulting the Committee on Defense and Interior. And these actions cannot be allowed to continue. The executive cannot be allowed to take decisions that are inappropriate and just to get away with it. If you want to show force, we have Galamsey sites, endemic Galamsey sites that in broad daylight are chasing military, NIMOS. They are chasing them, they are running after their lives. If you want to show force and to show the might of your security apparatus, you go to such areas where security officers, their lives are even in danger. But you fail to go there to show force, and you rather chose to show force in Accra, where people are going about their peaceful endeavors. You rather chose to show force in front of Supreme Court and Accra High Court. What kind of security infractions take place in such areas? High Street, what kind of security infractions take place in those areas? So we are telling the government that they should focus their efforts where it is needed. They should focus their security efforts where it is most urgent. Look at the situation in Boko. Even after the Otumfuo mediation, things are still not calmed. And we are still urgent calm in Boko. If we are still urgent calm in Boko, it's Accra High Street in front of Accra High Court. Are these places the flashpoints to show force? If you want to show force, everybody knows the flashpoints in this country. If you want to show force to deter people from committing crime, we know the places. So if the decision by the Ministry of Defense and the decision by Ministry of Interior combined to show force on innocent streets is most bizarre. It is complete waste of resources. It has not achieved any purpose, and I do not think there was any objective at all that was right. It was misplaced. So we are urging them to do the right things.
That ends our broadcast here at Zimbo TV GH on our news bulletin. I am Peter Nate Agbayo.